Again, welcome to the Collaborate session. For those of you who have never used Collaborate, this is going to be just a very basic session that we're going to kind of cover. How you get into Collaborate, how you create a session, how you have people join, and then recording those sessions and seeing the reports. That's pretty much the topics we're going to cover, and then I'll be happy to take whatever questions that you have. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So obviously what we're looking at here is a Blackboard course. This is just a demo course I have. And this is, of course, the course navigation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone see that in the purple?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice that there's an item that I put here called synchronous sessions. And this synchronous sessions is simply a link that links down to where you have course tools, the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. And I'm going to show you really quickly how you would do that in case you're not familiar. You can click on this button on the upper left-hand corner of the menu, and you can create a tool link. You can give it a name. Let's call this one Virtual Sessions. Under Type, you're going to select Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, and you make this available to users. Can I just ask everybody to mute themselves? On the bottom left-hand corner, you should see a little microphone icon. Make sure that it's got a red line through it, so you're muted. Thank you. Yeah, I was hearing some feedback. So here we have on the bottom the virtual sessions, and I can move that where I like. Both of these buttons now do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And it takes me to my Collaborate main page. So here you have a generic course room, and then you can also create individual sessions. I created a session. I have no idea why it says week 3 discussion. It decided to call that for me. But this is the session that I'm going to demonstrate in just a moment. There's a menu inside Collaborate here. If I click the menu, you can see that there's 2 options, settings and recordings. If I click on recordings, this is where you'll find recordings from previous sessions. Okay. Let me move these little videos.
Can you say really quickly what you're doing again?
So right now I'm just kind of showing you the interface, just demonstrating what you're looking at. So when you first come into the Blackboard Collaborate tool, the first thing you're going to see is the sessions screen. Okay. So when you first start in Collaborate, there won't be this session right here. All you'll see is the course room. And you can create a new session by clicking on this button, Create Session. The sessions that you have in here also have a button here on the right side for session options. If you click on session options, it gives you a few different things to do. One, you can join the session if it's open. Some sessions are timed, like they have a start date and an end date, and they're only available in between that start and end date. There is a dial-in number, so if students are not able to get online, you can provide this phone number and PIN, and they can participate just by phone. You can edit the settings for this particular session. You can view attendance reports. You can delete it, and you can copy a guest link. And this guest link allows anybody to log in, regardless of if they have a CUNY account or not. So you can have guests come in, guest speakers come in. You can post guest links in emails if you want, instead of trying to get students to log in directly through Blackboard. if you find that easier. But the nice thing about a guest link is that the people who join by that link don't have to log in to anything. Okay. So let's go into this session to get some more information. So this is the session settings. This is where you name the session. Let's just call this demo discussion.
Kenny, I'm sorry, I don't see any screen. I just see you. How do I get to what you're looking at?
You should see like a small square with my screen share in it. And if you click on that, it will switch you back to the screen share.
There's a small screen with you in it.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure what you're looking at, so I don't know why you're not seeing my share. Is everybody else seeing my shared screen?
Can I say, so I'm seeing pictures on the right, and it's kind of overlapping on what you're talking about, where you have the join session. They're kind of on top of each other.
What kind of pictures? You're talking about the videos?
Yeah, yeah.
You can move
That's
that
true.
around.
I do the same. I see the same.
Yes, you can move that around the screen. So if you need to see what's underneath it,
How?
just grab it and move it, or you can minimize it. So
I see.
So there's
Works.
little buttons on it. You can
Perfect.
click the smallest button and it minimizes it to the smallest.
Which is it? Oh.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I figured out a way how to see the screen. So on this, the one you see all the pictures, and there's like a rectangle on the top right, and you can swap to share screen and swap to back to the, just see the pictures, people's pictures. See on the right top right?
Yes.
You can switch that.
Okay. Yeah, it's different on my screen. But yes, there should be a way to swap between the shared screen and the video.
It's right next to the full screen icon in the upper right corner.
All right, so is everyone seeing my shared screen?
Yes.
I'm not.
Yes.
Who said I'm not?
Rich, I'm sorry.
Okay. Did you look on the upper right-hand corner to see if there's a swap image?
What's it say?
What's the text that it says up there?
It says view options.
It says gallery view.
But there should be one that says swap.
Screen with video.
Swap screen with video.
Is that it? Hit that.
Yes. And are you seeing my screen now?
I'm seeing you. I just see you.
Press it again and see if you see the screen.
You can do side by side.
Kenneth, you're still in sessions, is that correct?
We're still in sessions, and we're looking at the options for this particular session. All right, I'm going to move on, and if you're not seeing what I see, what I'm doing on the screen, then you're going to have to stay on afterwards, and we'll try to figure out what happened.
Sorry.
I'm sorry too. So you can name your session right here. This is a link to log in when it's accessible. Because I've been going in and out, it says get secure link, but usually it will just say join session. This again is the phone number for the phone dial-in, and guest access you can turn on or off. You can also designate whether the guest is a presenter, moderator, or participant. And moderator is the level of access that you have. It's basically full control over the session. Presenter can share their screen, but that's about all they can do. And participants can speak and interact, but they really have no control over what happens in the session. And then you can set start and end dates or leave it as an open-ended session.
So I have a question about,
Yes.
You said the presenter can share the screen. What about a moderator?
Moderators can do everything.
Yesterday I had hold a session for my class. I could not share my screen. I could share a file. I think when you click share, and there's option share file, share screen. And when I click the share screen, it wouldn't allow me to share my screen.
So were you using a Mac or Windows?
Windows.
Okay. It could be a permissions issue. I'm not sure. And you were using Collaborate?
Yes.
So I haven't actually tried this in Windows yet. I've only tried it on a Mac. We don't use Windows generally in my area, but it could be that. I would say if you're having continuing trouble with that, you should contact ICIT.
Okay, so
They
you
support
should.
this.
Okay, you should be able to share screen, right?
Yes, you should, and I'm
Okay.
going to demonstrate that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Kenny, could I ask you, I think students as participants can write on the whiteboard. Is there a way where you can be the only person to write on it?
That's a very good question.
Or if it's participants. You know, I had an informal session yesterday, and you know, again, this is behavioral issues. You know, there was a student screwing around with it, and you know, a class clown, and I have to, you know, turn into a schoolmaster and so on. But I guess there are only three choices there. What, moderator, participant, and what's the third one? I don't know if it's guest or whatnot. So I guess if they can do it as participants, they can do it. There's no way of preventing them from using the board.
Right.
All right.
I'm not 100% sure, but we'll take a look and see if that's the case.
Okay.
We'll look, because
May I,
now,
before we move on from this, just because I saw in some initial instructions that we don't have to set up each session individually. We can just like start it and then we can just go in. We don't have to set it up for each class. But when the way you're setting it up now, does that mean each time we have a class, we have to send out invitations and set it up as a session separately? Or can we just do it once for the whole semester?
so you can use that course room. So remember here, we had,
Oh.
you can create individual sessions or you can use the course room.
Oh, okay. We could just do it
Yes.
once in the course room? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I have one question.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are you going to get to whiteboard during this session?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
So sorry, what is a cross room for exactly?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
What is a cross room exactly works?
So the course room is just a session. It's just a session that's always available. So
What does that mean?
It's a session. It's just like this is a session. This is a session, but it's not time limited. You can always go in and out of it.
Okay, so
It's always there for it's like in Zoom you have your personal meeting ID. It's kind of the same idea. It's the room that's just the basics room associated with your course. You can
like
create separate sessions that could be for specific discussions or groups or different people. You know, there's a lot of different ways that you can utilize this, but the course room is just, it's like your classroom. It's like your,
it's your room, your space.
Yeah, if I have a 2 class, for example, I could create 2 classroom or.
Which class?
I'm sorry, say that again.
If I say I have a 2 courses.
Yeah.
So I could create 1 classroom for each class.
No. So the Blackboard Collaborate only works within your Blackboard course shell. So you're going to have a different course shell for each course that you teach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we're looking at some of my friends. Wave, everybody. They can hear me, but they can't hear you. Actually, hold on one second. I have to stop this and start it again. This should work. Oh. Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I thought I could do something, but I can't. So I can't share their sound with you, unfortunately. Actually, I can if I do it this way. You'll be able to hear them a little bit. All right. Can you hear me now? You can speak.
Yes.
You can speak.
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you hear them?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. So
I like the chimes in the background.
So this is the main video screen. You can see I put another screen of myself in there too. This is the main video screen that you'll see when people are coming in. It's very similar to Zoom, a little different. Normally the way it works is it's going to show, here, hold on, let me share my video as well. Okay. All right, so now we have 4 videos going on, or 5. It's a little confusing because now I have 2 computers here. And, sorry, hold on a second. All right. Sorry, there is a way to change the way it, the speaker should be more prominent, but unfortunately right now I'm not seeing it.
Martin.
Okay. Well, I believe that there's, oh, I see. There's a problem with the session. Let me reload it. It's a little challenging when you're trying to run a Blackboard Collaborate session with a Zoom session running. So it's, it does complicate things a bit. It does complicate things a bit. All right, I have to mute myself here. All right, so this is the screen when you're just showing the video, and you can switch to speaker mode. This is what I was looking for before. You have a switch to speaker mode, or you can switch to group mode. So it's similar as in Zoom to the gallery view versus the speaker view.
Excuse me, how did you switch? How did you make that switch? What did you
So
press?
on the upper right-hand corner, if you can follow the mouse, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little button. And you have to make sure that this window is closed. Oh no, actually it does appear there. Is that easier to see?
I forgot how to get all those pictures out of the videos out of the way.
You can just drag them from the top of that.
Oh, I see, okay.
Section. Yeah. So you should see a little button here that says switch to follow the speaker mode. And put whoever's speaking. So Dermot, why don't you say something real quick? All right, Dermot's speaking, but yet it's not switching. Huh. I don't know why it doesn't want to actually follow.
I don't hear anybody speaking except you, Kenny.
Yeah, I had to turn him off because I was getting a lot of feedback here. But normally this should work. Sorry about that.
Should it work for the other participants?
Do you see me right now?
Yeah.
You're in a
Talking to the other participants. So
You're in a
Adrika, who do you see right now? Okay. Oh, you see all of us? Yeah. Okay. So the following the speaker mode and switching to group mode all happens individually. So here now you see Adrika, who just spoke. And so it is actually working right. I bet Sue did not have her, or Dermot, were you muted? Yeah, Dermot, you're muted. That's why it didn't work. All right.
Can you ask 2 questions about that?
Yes.
The first one is, can the moderator mute all, like how you can in Zoom? Can I mute the whole class? And then the second question is, how do they raise their hand and how do I get them to talk? Because I thought there should be a raise hand video, but I mean,
Sure.
I don't see that.
So you see this little panel that opens up on the right. We have a little purple icon here on the bottom right, and it says Open Collaborate Panel.
Wait, now the videos. Oh, yes. Okay. All right.
And if I click the Open Collaborate Panel, then we have several different options here. So first of all, we can have a chat. So do you guys want to type something into the chat? There we go. So now they're saying hello, hello, hi, and I'm saying hey.
Mine didn't work.
No, not. I'm talking about the 4 that are on the screen right now.
Okay, thank you.
So we were able to chat into Collaborate, and you have a chat for everyone, and then you also have a chat for other moderators. Oh, Dermot's dog ate his homework. So you have, if you have more than one moderator in there, for example, if you have a TA or if you're co-teaching, you can have private discussions in here as well.
No, I meant like for running the class.
I know. The second option here is attendees. And this is where you're going to find the controls for managing the participants. Now, if
Wait a
you'll
minute,
notice-
I don't see that.
Kenny, we can't see the very bottom of your screen anymore that you're sharing.
Yeah.
You can't see the bottom of the screen?
It's cut off.
It's cut off.
Oh, let me see if I can.
I can see it.
Oh, you may have to.
Can you see it now?
Along the bottom.
You may have to. Well, for one thing, you may have to stretch. Can you hear me? Am I on? Yeah. You may have to stretch your screen. I can see the purple tab with the X. Right, that would be the bottom, correct?
This is the bottom of the screen, and if you go to the left of that, you should see these 4 icons here.
Yeah.
Does everybody see that?
You may want to.
But it's cut off.
You may want to enter. You may want to click on.
It is cut off.
Are you in? Are you in full screen mode or not?
Fine, how do you get to full screen? How do you get to full screen?
So on the upper right-hand corner of Zoom, you should find full screen mode or exit full screen mode if you're in full screen. So if you can't see it, hit whichever of those buttons. Do you see that upper right-hand side?
I'm in full screen mode, but I only see the tops of those 4 icons and only the top of the purple icon.
How about
Same
that?
here. Yeah.
Yeah, the frame came in a little bit. So
All right, let me try it this way.
You can click on the view options and then it gives you a choice to view it in 100% and that fixes it. I just did that.
How did you do that?
How about that?
Options on the top.
Yeah, that looks perfect.
That's
Okay.
better. Thanks, Kenny.
Kenny has now looks perfect.
All right, so now I'm just sharing my whole desktop instead of just the one window.
I'm sorry,
So-
where did you see those options? I'm not seeing that. I'm on a MacBook Pro, does that matter?
Which options are you talking about?
Where somebody just said click on options and it takes care of it, but I lost something there.
It's right on the top in the middle. It says view options.
Oh, I see, okay.
You scroll it down, there's 100% or 100 and it gives you the option of actually fixing it. Original size.
Original size, that's the only, I only have that. Okay. So-
Well, I made a change to the way I'm sharing the screen. So does everybody see these 4 icons here now?
Yeah.
You should see. Well, the first one is my status and settings, and it gives me a little overview of the status of my meeting. So I am the moderator. I can leave the session from here. There's feedback. The next one here is sharing my audio. Right now my audio is turned on, so these 3 can hear me, right? Hello. The next one is video. And right now, I'm not sharing my video to them. That's why it looks like a line, it's hollow with a line crossing it out. Then the one to the right is raise hand. Now, everybody that's participating, you should have that as well. Do you see the raise hand icon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Audrika, Dermot, and Sue, do you see raise hand? Can you click it? See that? Raise hand, raise hand. And now you see that they have the raise hand icons here in the attendees panel.
What
Is
are
that
the
clear
little
for everyone?
Yeah.
What was that? Somebody had a question?
Sorry, it just cues them in order that they raise their hand.
Yeah, looks like it.
Hi, Sue.
And SWAT
It's
is
not
first.
so much a cue. Like it doesn't really tell you who raised their hands first.
All right. Okay.
Unfortunately,
But they are numbered.
they are numbered.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sue was number 1, and the other woman in the upper left was number 2.
Can you raise your hands again? Oh, I see.
Yeah, it looks like they are queued.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Nice.
I have
You don't
a
get that feature
question.
in Zoom.
Yeah, I have a question. So for attendees, can you, being moderator, can you put a caption on when you talk? I have a student have a trouble to hear.
Yes.
So this caption function is very important.
So right here on the side, you'll see these little buttons for options.
Yeah.
Where?
Side.
Where
Right here
exactly?
on the right-hand side of the attendees panel, you have a button that says attendee controls.
Yes.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
No.
No? The videos might be hiding it. It's on the right side of the screen. Here, I'm gonna move this over a little bit.
Mhm.
See if, does that help?
Not really. Oh, yeah, attendees control. Yes.
So you click this button,
Okay.
and it gives you several options. So I can send a chat to this person. I can make them a moderator. I can make them a presenter. I can make them a captioner so they can type in captions. I can lower their hand and I can remove them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kenneth, how do you mute them?
Yeah, back to my first question, can you mute everybody at the same time and then unmute the person you want to talk to the group?
So you have options up here on the right. I can search for an attendee and I can mute all.
Okay.
Okay.
And I can
so,
mute individuals.
So
okay, where did you click to get that mute all?
Up on the right, up on the top right. Right where it says 5 attendees here,
Right.
there's a button to the right of that. And this is...
So, and if you find one attendee that you want to mute, you enter their name, find attendee, and then there'll be a prompt, a button where you can mute that.
So yeah, I still have a question about make a captioner. So if you click that button, and what I see is only a smaller screen showing you can type it. It's not like automatic you talk and they put a caption on. Do you want to try it now? Put it make a captioner.
Sure. All right, Audrika, I'm going to make you a captioner and just type some text in.
Yeah, so she can type the text in, but basically what I'm saying is I have a student I have trouble to hear. So whatever I say, and if converted into caption, that will be very helpful.
So it doesn't happen automatically.
Yeah, see,
Somebody
she can
has to, yes. So somebody has to go in and manually. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. So the person who's a captioner has to type in what you're saying.
Oh, so
it doesn't happen automatically.
Oh, I see.
The only service I'm familiar with that does that automatically is Google Meet.
Google Meet. Okay.
Yes. However, if you take your recordings and download them afterwards, then you can upload them into, well, I'm not even going to say to upload them to YouTube, because that's, if there's students on there, you don't want to post anything on YouTube. But YouTube has an auto captioning service for after the fact.
So I have a question in terms of telling the students how to keep themselves muted. How do we describe that to them until they want to make a comment? Like, we know how to push our icon here in Zoom and then touch our bar when we want to speak. What is the instruction we need to give for Collaborate?
So right here underneath the videos is where you'll find the microphone icon. And if they click that, they'll mute themselves. So I'm going to click it right now, and you'll see it turns off. And if I want to share my audio, I click it again, and now all of a sudden they can hear me.
And if they want to speak, do they also press the bar like in Zoom, or no?
I don't know if there's a shortcut in Collaborate. I can't test it, because if I hit spacebar, it's going to function in Zoom.
Okay, right, okay.
But there's some really great documentation on Blackboard's website for Collaborate, and some of these details can be are most likely in that documentation. All right, so let's go to the next section here, which is share content.
Okay, so can I follow on this caption things again?
Yes.
Because when I searched the closed caption, like captioning on Blackboard, I got some kind of thing saying if you join the Blackboard Collaborate session as attendee, once you join as attendee, you can turn on live caption by clicking the CC bar icon at top of the audio and video panel. So it looks like they have captioning.
This is the live captioning system that they have. It's not. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to manually enter the captions. When you go into a pre-recorded session, you can turn the captions on. I think that's what it's saying. But when you're in a session that has captioning available, when you've designated a captioner, the attendees have the option of turning it on or off.
Yeah, but I think that they said there's a package called a caption sync.
Oh, I don't know anything about outside packages.
All right, yeah.
Xiao Chuan, who runs the sessions for ASSERT and for ICIT, she probably knows a lot more about that stuff.
Okay.
So I would definitely recommend, if Collaborate looks like something you want to use, maybe attend one of their sessions or speak to her directly, because I think she can help onboard you more effectively. I'm still relatively a novice in this. So, I'm kind of showing you the basics, but when you start getting into adding third-party tools and all that kind of stuff, I'm not there yet.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So sharing content, there's a few different options for you here. The first one is that you can share a whiteboard, and the whiteboard allows you to collaboratively work with your students on kind of like a whiteboard or a Blackboard, where you can draw, shapes, you can type text, and they can do that with you. Somebody asked earlier, can you set it up so only the moderator can use the whiteboard? I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, can you just tell us how did you get to the whiteboard?
So see here where it says share blank whiteboard?
But how did you get there?
Oh, sorry. So before we were on the attendees panel over
Right.
here.
Excuse me, why am I still seeing Audrika?
That's Sue.
Sue, why am I still, well, it says Audrika.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't I seeing you?
You're not seeing me because you're looking at the Collaborate window. You're not looking at the Zoom videos. This is it's very challenging to demonstrate.
You're looking at his screen.
You're looking at it. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen with you, so you're seeing what I see.
Okay.
The thing is, if I was doing this with you from within Blackboard, Collaborate,
Yes.
you wouldn't see any of the controls. You would only see it from a participant's perspective.
Got it.
So I wanted to show you what it looks like from the moderator's perspective.
Okay.
And then afterwards, if we have time, I'll share the link with you. You can jump in as a participant.
Thank you.
Okay.
So you
and then you can interact with Dermot and Sue and Audrika. Because they're probably desperately waiting to hear your voices.
You were saying how to get to whiteboard.
That's the only screen I get to see now.
Oh yes, I can take you off the captions.
Oh, yeah.
Captions, go to the audio section, turn it off. I was also just researching. There is an option where you can automatically turn them on, I think, on Zoom.
I have a quick question. What is
Let's get back to where do we find the whiteboard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sue, they can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Somebody had a question?
How do we get to the whiteboard from the attendees where we are now?
Yes. So if you look down here in the Collaborate panel, there's 4 buttons, right? The second button is the attendee panel. The third button is share content. Do you see that?
Yes.
Everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I hit share content, and these are your options. The first one is to share a blank whiteboard. The second one is to share an application or screen. So you can share your whole screen, or you can share just one window from your computer. So for example, you can share a PowerPoint without having to share your whole screen. Or you can share your whole screen, which shows everything that's on your screen. So you can see the messy desktop, and you can see, whenever you're opening up files, all of that, you can see if you're sharing the full screen. Sharing files allows you to upload documents or PDFs or zip files or PowerPoints, anything that you want to share that they can download.
What would be the difference between just putting this on your course materials page?
So sharing files doesn't save it in other places in Blackboard. It only saves it here in the session. So I can add a file here, and it's going to pull up my Finder, and I can post a file there that they can then download. Let me see if I can find one that I can.
But for that, would the difference be if you don't want them to sit there watching you trying to figure out how to download the file, you could do it ahead of time and put it in your course materials, right? And then would always be there?
So I just uploaded a screenshot. You can put stuff in your course materials and you can share that. The thing about doing the sharing here is it's sort of just in time. So if let's say you don't want them to see something in advance, or it's specifically related to an activity that you're doing in the session, you can share it at that point instead of sharing it in advance. But absolutely, you can always share things in advance and then use them within the session. You just have to remind people, make sure you print that out or have that open while we're in session. And then you can share it here as well for those who forget.
Okay, but there's no way that you would have something in your course that you had uploaded for the course that you could just draw up to show in that moment in class. Like you kind of have to, you're telling me it's sort of, the course materials are in one place and then and then this is a separate thing that you have to redo if you want to pull something from the course materials.
So you can see here up on top that the Blackboard Collaborate session is in a separate window than my Blackboard course. I can just flip back over to Blackboard and I can pull something up there. So you can tell me, go back into Blackboard and pull up something from the course materials folder or whatever. And I can do that right on the fly. But it makes it a little more complicated because then people, you know, if this was full screen, then that might be a little bit more challenging. What I'm saying is if you upload files here that you're using on the fly, then you can avoid all of that back and forth.
No, but are you saying you can do it back and forth?
Absolutely.
If you go to course materials in regular old Blackboard, you can just hit on a link and it will come up and the screen will show that.
So there's two possible ways that I'm thinking you're meaning that. One is that when you're sharing your screen, you can go to Blackboard, pull up a link, and show the students through the share. Yes, you can do that. Or you can just tell the students, you go to Blackboard, you pull up that link, and have it on your desktop. But then they're flipping back and forth between the Collaborate session and what it is that you want them to look at.
No,
right, but
good.
Why that makes it more complicated.
Yeah, but that's why I was saying that there's no way to draw the course materials into this Share Now section. You would have to reload it.
You would have to upload it from your computer, correct?
Okay, so it's an upload it twice if you want it to be in both those interfaces. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, when you select it, when you add files, it's coming from your computer. It's not coming from the Blackboard course.
And a quick question on something else.
Yes.
In the participants section, sometimes the icon or the statement lower hand comes up. Do you know what that means? I noticed it in in sample sessions I had with my students.
Yeah. So you see how 3 people have their hands raised currently.
Oh, okay.
So I can go and lower their hand.
Oh, all right. So when that happened, you kind of passed over. I see. So when you were dragging the pointer, you sort of passed over that button, and the lower hand came up. I must have done that accidentally with my students. All right. So you're lowering their hand when that icon comes up.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm going into the attendee controls.
Okay.
And there's a lower hand button. When I click that, what you saw was a pop-up that showed that other people had raised hands. And I could lower their hands as well.
When you lower their hands, does that mean you're allowing them to speak like
No.
we do in real classrooms? So that means they have the floor.
No.
No.
That's not necessarily what that means. What that means is I'm simply lowering their hands for them instead of asking them to do it.
So why did I see that that prompt lower hand when I was working with my students? Why did that prompt come up?
Adrika, Dermot, and Sue, can you raise your hands again? That's what came up, right? I can click here to lower their hand.
Oh, all right. Okay. So it's because they raised their hand, and then you have the option to lower their hand. That's correct. All right. I didn't notice that. Okay.
So
great.
I can do it, or I can ask them to do it.
Right.
Can you go over how when you choose them to speak, they get to speak after they've raised their hand?
So you would just tell them to unmute themselves, and then they can speak.
Can you go through the process of them raising their hand, then you calling on them, then them speaking, then, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you have to make the decision how you're going to manage the classroom, just like you would in a regular classroom. Do people have the right to just interrupt and break, unmute themselves and talk? or do you ask everybody stay muted until I call on you? That's a classroom management technique that you have to figure out for yourself.
I have a question.
Request to
So,
you
so
do-
like when
Wait,
you're
hold on, there's
teaching,
2 of you speaking at once.
What I was saying is that if you could just demonstrate what Chris asked, a raising of a hand from the student who's muted, then giving them the chance to speak, calling on them, etc. Can we go through that once?
Sure. Audrika, Dermot, and Sue, can you raise your hands? Okay. Dermot, please lower your hand and unmute yourself, and you can make a comment. I think you're still muted, Dermot.
I like those chimes. They're very nice.
Okay. So you can't hear him. I can hear him, but he's talking right now. All right, Dermot, thank you. Mute yourself. And Audrika, would you like to speak?
Sure thing. Hello. Do you want me to lower my hand too?
Yes, please. Lower your hand. Thank you. All right, you can mute yourself now. So you just have to.
Question about attendance.
can I ask questions? I think I'm the next. I have a question.
Yes, you did have a question next. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess what I could do is unmute them all and teach a small section, and then unmute them all, teach a session, and then unmute them and let them ask questions, right? And so if one student just keep talking, can I just mute one specific student?
You know, you would think you could, but I don't see the option anywhere to mute a single student. Somebody said earlier I can find an attendee, so I can look for Dermot.
I was wondering, yeah, if you could do it that way.
But you notice it in their controls. Oops. In their controls, there's no mute option. So I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I don't see
Okay, that's fine.
where that is. The only thing I see is mute all.
So yeah. Well, I guess that's fine. Then, I will mute them all and teach a little bit and then unmute them so that they could have a chance to ask questions. And then I can mute them and teach again so that there'll be no other students talking while I'm teaching, right?
Right. So you have the ability to mute them. You don't have the ability to unmute them this way. So they have to unmute themselves.
Oh, really? I thought like after you mute them, then you have a chance to unmute them all.
No, all 3 of them are currently muted.
Oh, so you can unmute them. Huh.
If you can, I haven't seen where that setting is.
So you mean you mute everybody, and if they want to talk, they have to unmute themselves, or we
Correct.
unmute? Okay. Right.
Okay. You know how to do the share screen, because I try mine, still doesn't work.
So if you're sharing your screen, so you're going to come back to share content, and you select share application screen.
Right.
Now you're going to have this share your screen thing pop up. Do you see a screen in there?
Yes, I do. When I click share, it won't allow me to.
And when you hit share, so you have to click on the screen, and then the share button.
On the screen. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you have to select what you're sharing to, and then you can hit share.
I thought I did. Okay.
Generation.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
Now mine doesn't seem to want to work, but it could be that the fact that I'm sharing already in Zoom.
No, I don't think the share works. I try mine again now. I did what you did, and I don't think I'm sharing.
Can you share a specific application?
Yeah. Oh, no, a specific application, yes, you can share one file, I guess.
So I'm seemingly not able to do it because I think because I'm sharing already in Zoom. So for some reason, the fact that I'm sharing in Zoom prevents me from sharing. Oh, wait, no, there it works. All right, so do
May I
you?
ask a question since we have this window up a minute?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to have, I always take attendance, and I think there's somewhere on here that it will take attendance for you. I'm planning to use the course room and not set up each independent session. So in that case, will it still record attendance, or how do I record attendance?
Yes, I'll show you how you get the attendance report after.
Okay.
So as you can see right now, I'm sharing my my Blackboard tab in Chrome. So this is what they see right now, is this application screen. Do you see that? And then I have their videos right here down in the bottom corner. And I can click that to switch to the videos so I can see them, or I can switch to what I'm sharing. But I think sharing full screen isn't working because I'm sharing in Zoom.
And when we create a session, Kenny, do we need to invite them to that, or will they get emailed that automatically, or how does that work?
So those sessions appear in Blackboard. You don't have to invite them. I don't know if students are notified. I think you'll probably have to post it into an announcement or an email.
But for each class?
And then they'll just log on at the time?
Or you can just, yeah, you could just be, at the class time, just go into Google, into Blackboard Collaborate and log into the course. So if you have a set time each week, then you can just, that's their classroom.
I have a question in regard to the participants. Can I actually see all of them? Because right now I just see 6.
Are you talking about in Zoom?
Yeah, well, I think Collaborate maybe, because I see you on the big screen and I see 6 participants, including me, but I know there are way more.
Yeah, you're seeing, but that's the Zoom screen. That's not Blackboard.
Okay, so it would be different than later.
When you're in Zoom, when you're sharing your screen, you only see a handful of videos, and then you see once I stop sharing my screen, you'll see many more if you're in gallery view. In Collaborate, it's similar. You can see when I was sharing my screen, you could only see one little video in the bottom corner. So I could only see whose video was the active speaker when I'm in Collaborate, when I'm sharing my screen. So it's actually even less in Collaborate than it would be in Zoom.
I think part of it.
Can I go back to the question, on the question before where you were talking about creating a session and whether the students had to get an email? So does that mean for each class session, like every Monday, every Thursday, they have to get a separate email to get invited in, or they just go in?
No, you don't have to send invitations. You just have to notify students that there is a session. So they have to know when to go in. So that's why I'm saying you can use announcements or you can use emails to let students know, okay, we're going to meet on Tuesday at 6 o'clock or whatever it is. And you're going to use whatever the session name is, or you can use the course room as your meeting space. But you just have to communicate to them what your plan is for where you're meeting. But the meeting itself, all they have to do is log into Blackboard, click on, as I showed you earlier, if you create a menu option for your synchronous sessions, they would just click on that, and it would take them into this sessions space where they can join a room.
Okay.
Can I follow up with a question about that? So what I plan is either sharing the screen or share the PowerPoint application so that they can see each slide and then while I'm talking. And I'm planning to record them so whoever cannot attend the session can watch the video later on, right?
Right.
So in that case, would it be better to create a special session for each class, or just use the course room and just record each of them? Which way is better?
It doesn't matter because you'll have separate recordings for each time you meet. So I'm in here, we're in here now. See this button here on the upper left-hand side? This is the session menu.
Uh-huh.
If I click that, the first option here is start recording.
Oh, I see.
So I hit start recording. So it says the session is being recorded. When I stop the recording, it will place a recording in the recordings area, and you can then go back and rename them or refer to them in other ways.
Could you show me the location of where you find the recording?
Okay, so back here in Blackboard, in the Collaborate window, there's a menu right next to where it says Sessions. You'll see this little menu icon, and you can select Recordings.
Oh, then the list of the recording will be.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
So this is one that I did earlier. The one that I just did, it takes a few minutes before the recordings appear. They have to process. So depending on how long, this is a 5-second recording, so it was quick. But depending on how big the files are, it might take longer for them to appear here. But this is where they'll appear. And then you can edit the name, you can watch now, you can copy the link and paste the link somewhere. So you can you can paste the link into a content area. Please go watch this. You can delete it if you don't need it anymore, and so forth.
Okay, great, thank you.
Kenneth, could I
Can you
go
show
on?
us about the attendance before we end? How to take
Sure.
attendance in the course room?
Yes, so if we go back to sessions, so let's look at the session report for this one. All the way to the right, you have this little session option button. You click that, you go down to view reports, and you're going to have a report every time you meet in that session and how many attendees were there. And then you can view the full report, so you can see who they were, the time that they first joined, the time that they left, how many times they joined the meeting.
That's great.
And total amount of time spent in the session.
Right. Does that also work for course room? Because I'm thinking I want to work with the course room.
Yes.
Oh, it does. Okay.
And then you can export the report either into a printable format or into a CSV if you want to import it into Excel or Google Sheets. There's a session ID. I think you only really need this if you're contacting Blackboard for support. And it gives you the session details. So in the course room, you would select the options here and the view reports for the course room. I don't have any reports. I haven't used it.
Okay, but it would still do it.
Yeah,
But
it functions the same.
Okay, so it would set up a different. I'm just thinking the course room isn't like designated. Here's Monday. Here's Wednesday. Whatever. So it would count for that.
All right, I'm going to let Audrika and Dermot and Sue leave if they want to. I think we've gotten what we needed to from you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you, guys. Even though you can't hear us.
Yeah, thank you.
They all thank you.
Kenneth,
Can I ask?
Kenneth, I was in and out during the past 15 minutes, so I don't know if you resolved the question of muting an individual participant. I think you left off as you don't think that's possible. Is that correct, or did you come across?
Yeah, I haven't yet found how to mute individual participants. There is really good documentation that if you want to look for it, you can find that, or you can contact me later and I'll try to get the answer for you.
Okay, well, I did find a page online. I could send it to you.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's from an older version of Collaborate, and they discontinued that function.
If you can post the link in the chat,
Yeah.
I can pull it up.
Can I ask a question?
Oh,
Yes.
it's going to Pamela. Okay.
I'll make sure you send it to to everyone.
Send chat to everyone. Okay.
And then you can
Why
click.
with Pamela. Okay, defaulted there. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. There it is.
All right.
And if you scroll down to what is it? Mute attendees, like halfway down the page. But I don't think that button, that mute button, appears anymore under individual attendees.
Mute attendees.
Oh.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, but I didn't see the button there when you went through it, so maybe they discontinued it.
Sorry, I don't know what just happened to that.
Oh,
yeah, so it looks like there is supposed to be an option to mute one attendee, but like you said, it's not appearing.
Right.
So I think I'll have to contact CUNY Central about that.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I created a session to kind of follow along, and I went to student mode so I could see what they would see, like, because what I'm trying to figure out, like when they go into Blackboard, they're going to click on, I don't know what, to know to go to class.
Mm-hmm.
And for my student view, even though I've made a session and the session is open, I think, when I go to student view, I don't even know where they would click. It's not clear what the, I don't know if I'm missing something.
So I just posted the link, the guest link for this session. If anybody wants to jump in, you're more than welcome to, and you can see what it looks like from a participant's perspective.
Okay.
Wait, where is that? What?
So I just posted it in the chat.
In the chat.
Let me make sure.
You're talking about in the Zoom chat?
In the Zoom chat.
It's the last item.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Blackboard
now you'll start to see
collaborate.
people showing up.
Okay, wait, but so type in your name. Okay. So this is because you sent something,
So I just sent a link in the chat room,
right?
and in the Zoom chat to get you logged into this Collaborate session, so you can see what it looks like from a student perspective.
Okay, but this is, I think
what he said before is that he created a shortcut called a synchronous session that they would just click on in the purple part.
Oh, you're talking about in Blackboard?
Well, okay. I guess I don't understand how to invite them to the class.
You don't have to invite them. So in your Blackboard course, you have this course tool, Blackboard Collaborate. Okay.
Yes, obviously. Okay, yeah.
I can create a link to that in my course navigation just to make it easier for the students.
Wait, okay, hold on. Where are you going? Course materials. Synchronous sessions?
So
Wait, I
made this link. I created this link.
Oh, okay.
But
Yes.
how?
So up here on the
Okay.
navigation, you have this little plus button.
Okay.
And you can add content. Sorry, you can add stuff into your navigation. Sorry, I have the little videos are in the way. So I can add a content area, I can add a module page, a tool link, web link, course link, so forth. In this case, I used tool link, and I selected Blackboard Collaborate, and I just gave it a name. I called it synchronous sessions. You can call it synchronous meetings, whatever you want. And you make it available to users and submit, and it will appear right here in your navigation, and then you can move it anywhere you want. And that's just a shortcut that you can give to students to get to here. And this is your sessions page.
Thank you, Kenny. I needed that again. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everybody in here because I'm hearing feedback now. You may not hear, but I hear it.
I hear it.
Oh, you hear the feedback? Yeah. Oh, maybe it's in Zoom then.
Yeah, we're hearing it.
Yeah, I think it's. too many layers.
All right, let's see if that helps.
So okay, let me go to student view. Sorry, if this is stuff you kind of went over, I see. Okay, now they see it. They see that link in the purple bar. Okay, beautiful. Okay, thank you.
And now you can see the chat that everybody was participating in. In my attendees list, you now have a bunch of people that weren't there before. And I still don't have the mute attendee button. It might be that it only appears when people have unmuted themselves. I'm not certain. The last thing that I didn't show you was breakout groups.
And I unmuted myself.
So you can create breakout groups that are randomly assigned, or you can have custom assigned groups. So I can randomly assign people, let's say, the 3 groups here.
Excuse me, there's an echo. Everything you're saying is echoing.
All right, can everybody mute themselves in Zoom? Here, I'll mute everybody in Zoom.
I think it might be muting in.
All right, so I've muted everyone in Zoom. Hold on a second. I think I disabled your ability to unmute yourselves. Okay, so you can mute yourselves one at a time. Just make sure you mute and unmute yourself. All right, somebody just unmuted themselves and I heard an echo. So with the breakout groups, I can assign, you can't hear me? Unmute yourself? You hear an echo?
It's still echoing.
Are you on both?
I think the echo is because you introduced the Blackboard session that we're also all on now.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's actually the Blackboard.
But Sylvia,
the Blackboard could
maybe
be
if you
muted,
log
maybe.
out of Blackboard for now. Or if you, yeah, is that better? Okay, Sylvia, is that better? Why can't I unmute you I can't unmute you now. Unmute audio. There we go. Is that better, Sylvia?
Yeah.
Because I don't hear it. You hear it. Can you close the Blackboard Collaborate session?
I thought I did. I've closed everything except this.
Huh.
I have nothing else open.
Let's see if I close this. Is that better?
No, just keep going. Just keep going.
All right. How about that?
Yes.
Okay. I just realized that I had my microphone on in Blackboard Collaborate.
Okay.
All right. There we go. So now for breakout groups, I can assign groups randomly, or I can custom assign groups by just dragging and dropping people into groups.
I'm sorry, how did you get there? How did you get to the breakout group?
So it's one of the share content.
Okay. Thank you.
It's in the share content screen under breakout groups on the bottom. So I have 2 groups here. And one more person to assign. It's a little clunky, especially right now. And then I hit start.
If you do it randomly, the number is the number per group or the number of groups?
So it's the number of groups. So you can see it's moving me into a breakout right now. So I'm in a breakout session. I'm in group 2. And it looks like I'm the only one in there. Oh no, it's me and Gabrielle.
I'm sorry. What exactly does that mean? Are these separate like small groups for small group discussion?
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay. Great.
So the breakout sessions are just that. They are for small group.
Kenneth, did you drag and drop your name into a group? Is that how you did it?
I did. Now I can end the breakout groups, and it's going to take us back to the main room, and then we can go ahead and look at the options
Wait.
again.
How did you end the group? I didn't see that.
It was just a button. It says to end groups. Sorry, I'll start it again so you can see.
Thank you.
So let's go back to share, breakout groups. So for randomly assign, you can set up the number of groups, and it will automatically divide everyone evenly into those groups. You can allow attendees to switch groups. You can shuffle attendees. So if I want to remake the groups, I can just keep shuffling them until I'm happy with the way they look. So now you can see I have group 1 and group 2, 2 members each. And when I'm ready to begin, I just hit start right here. Do you see that?
Yes.
All right, so now it's bringing me into the breakout group. I'm in group 2, it says. So this whole inactive section, I think, is only visible to me as the moderator. But up here in breakout groups, do you see this button right here? End breakout groups. That's what I hit.
Okay.
And it shows the 2 groups that are here. Now, because I'm a moderator, I think it's giving me more information than the participants would see. But you as the moderator, you can jump into whichever room that you want. So I can join group 1.
When they're in the breakout groups, they only see their group.
Correct.
And
so now I'm in group 1 and I see Eileen and Gabrielle. And they don't have their video on, so we're not seeing them right now, really.
And if we want them to get into pairs, is there a way to easily do that without trying to figure out, like, is that 14 groups or 12 groups or?
No, you can't just, there's no option for just pairing. You have to go by the number of attendees. So you can see here on the top, it says there's 4 attendees. So if I want to make 2 groups of, or if I want to make pairs, I have to make the groups equal. I have to have 2 groups.
Okay.
If you have an odd number of people, obviously you're going to have 1 group of 3.
But then you can shuffle people.
Yes, you can manually shuffle them, or you can automatically shuffle them.
So you can set up the groups and then switch extra people.
Yes. So it's already 4:17. Are there any questions? I think we covered most of the features here. There is a polling feature. It's very simple. You have multiple choice or yes, no choices. And if you click on the polling, you just so once you have the question and all the choices that you want, you just hit start. And now everybody who's in there has the ability to respond.
If you want to make that a quiz, where do you enter the answer?
There is no quiz option inside.
There's another part of Blackboard where you can do that.
That's in Blackboard, yes. You have quizzes that you can give asynchronously, but this is a synchronous poll.
All right.
If those people that are in the group respond to this, they'll show up and only you'll see it until you click show responses. And when you hit show responses, it shows it to the group. And then I can end the polling when I'm done.
Anybody with a Skype camera on their laptop or desktop can be involved in this. That's all that's required.
So yes, you need a webcam and a microphone to participate with the audio and video. However, as you saw earlier, in the settings, there is also a phone number that you can call if you can't use your computer audio, or if you don't have a computer and you just participate by voice only.
Is that how we have a guest enter the session who is not a student in the class?
So there's also a guest link. Where is the guest link? So the guest link, so if you come back into Blackboard and you click on the session information shows up, and that's where your guest link is.
Right, but how does that person needs to know that guest link?
So so see this button here, it says copy.
Yeah.
I copy that and I email it to somebody, or text it to them, or however you're communicating with them.
I see.
So that's exactly how I sent the links to all of you in the Zoom chat.
Is there a way for students to use the video function and join a chat session if they are only using their phones?
Well, I believe there's a Collaborate app for phones that they can use. I know for sure there's a Blackboard app. I don't know if Collaborate's a separate app or if it's built in. I didn't get that far in my research, but we can look here in the documentation. So this is the documentation that they provide, which I think is actually pretty outstanding. So when you first come into the Collaborate help documentation, and it's just help.blackboard.com/collaborate, and I'm gonna post that into the chat room so that you have that. Chris, you had a question about pre-recording a lecture. You just record whatever you record yourself in the same way that I showed you how to record a session, and then you can paste a link for that recording into a content area. So we have Collaborate Ultra. So you're gonna always click on the Ultra experience, and there's resources for participants, for moderators, and administrators. You just need, for yourself, moderator, but you can share the participant link for your students. I'm sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. What was I looking up in here? What was the question again? Was it Eileen?
Yeah, my question was if students could use this on their phones and the
right.
video.
So if we go to participant, participate in sessions, let's see, join sessions, Blackboard app. So collaborate in the Blackboard app. So it just works from within. I guess they just have one application that you use for access to the course and to the Collaborate sessions.
Yeah, my students the other day were connecting with their phones, so they've probably had the the Blackboard mobile app all semester, or maybe throughout their careers. And of course, they just clicked on the Collaborate link, I assume, and were able to connect to the session.
And it works on iPhone, Android, iPads, Android tablets. So it will work with any of those applications.
Mm-hmm. All right. The only question I have is the startup. In order to do this, once I'm in there and I can work with it. But getting in there is my concern. I would go to the entry you showed us on Blackboard, and do I? Yeah, and we're not going to get synchronous session because you created that. We can go to viral sessions or virtual sessions. Do I type the?
No. I created all of these.
At that time, is that?
Paul, none of these were in there. When you first get a course in Blackboard, you'll have announcements, course information, course materials, instructor, discussion board, tools, my grades, and help, and faculty and student support. The synchronous meeting, virtual sessions, and synchronous sessions links there, I created.
Okay.
So you can create one for yourself.
And how would I do that?
So when you come up to the navigation, there's this little button right above it.
Okay.
And you use Tool Link.
All right, Tool Link, all right, okay.
And in the Tool Link, you select Collaborate. And then you give it a name. You make it available to users and submit.
And it's available to users, and then they can find it on Blackboard. They can find it in here.
So as long as it's available to users, they will see it.
And
So
they'll
here I
look for
created a meeting.
they'll look for virtual sessions, and that's where we're going. That's where we're meeting today.
А ты будешь потом со мной
Exactly.
поиграешь в это, потому что я тут, конечно, клик да клик, а я сейчас как выйду. Нет, а я выйду перед 600 человек.
Понимаю.
Да.
So more than likely, I would type the course code, and that would be their identifier.
I'm sorry?
Будем как половина на половину.
Can you please mute your
Хорошо, давай.
the microphones? I'm hearing a
Nadia
Russian
needs to
conversation.
mute her.
All right, let me do that.
Да, да. Я поняла. Не, я так.
All right. So Paul, can you repeat the question?
Okay, I felt a good way to do that would be to put the course code in, and then they can all tune in, they can all click into that.
What do you mean the course code?
The SEDF 70500-03 is the course. So I could put that in instead of
put that in where?
Instead of virtual sessions, and that way they would identify it.
Well, your course code will probably be listed up here.
Okay, so they'll all right. I see. You're right. I get it. All right.
Yeah, because you'll be within your course. This
All right.
happens all within your Blackboard course.
All right. So just give them some identifier to be able to know where to go, and I'll have to type that in through the plus symbol. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sylvia?
Okay.
You have to unmute yourself. Sorry, Sylvia.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I have a problem. Yesterday we started a session, this class, then student was in the different session and then couldn't get into my session.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. So Sylvia had a question. Hold on one second. Sylvia?
Actually, Paul, have you been using Blackboard? Because
Paul, have you been using Blackboard? She's asking.
Because it sounds like you don't know how to use Blackboard. I don't know, is that true?
Paul, have you used Blackboard before?
I've used Blackboard for course materials and course information.
Okay.
And announcements, and I've also done discussion on it.
Right, but most people use Blackboard exactly how they don't customize it, and so that I think that makes sense that if Paul didn't know where the navigation customization tool is, yeah.
So my question is, yesterday I hosted a session. I actually hold 2 sessions through this Blackboard Collaborator. So one problem is we started this Blackboard Collaborator session and student was on another one. I don't know what happened. So they were not able to join. They didn't really see my session, or it's because they were on different course. They log in different course, or?
Well, how many sessions did you have in that course?
I only have one, or maybe I create 2 sessions. So I don't know how I did it. I create session. I just click a create session, right?
So you see how I have the course room here, and I have the demo discussion. So it's if somebody tried going into the course room, because you can always join that, but we were actually in the demo discussion, then they wouldn't see us.
Oh, so what is the best way to create the session in a classroom or?
Well, there's no right or wrong way. What you need to make sure of is that you're very clear to students where you're going to be at a given time. So if you do have multiple sessions indicated here, my advice would be to have very clear titles for them.
Yeah.
That maybe have dates in the titles, even though the date's right below it, but you can set specific windows. So see how this session, demo discussion, I have a start date, but I have an open end date. I can have this, I can change the start date to today at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do my class number, which corresponds to my reading list, which might be good for some people to think about.
I see. Yeah, because I don't know, I maybe create a subset. I think later on the student said you have click something and inside it's a subsession or something.
I would say if you're only ever going to use one room, then just use the course room. Don't create extra sessions, just use the course room. If you're only ever using it to meet during your regular class periods, then you could just use the course room. You don't have to create extra sessions. But if, for example, if you wanted to create like an office hours session, you could do that. If you wanted to create a one-on-one, an individual meeting with a specific student, and you didn't want other people to be able to join, you can come in here. You know what? It doesn't look like you can restrict session.
Yeah.
If you choose to do the course room instead of the creating a session, can you take, and you may have said this, I apologize, attendance for each individual date that you're in there and meeting?
Yes. So see how in the reports here, it shows 2 separate reports because I started the meeting twice.
Okay, got it. All right. Thanks.
Okay. So the same gonna happen if you're trying to record it, because it's gonna be same name, course room only, right?
Correct. And what happens is, see now the recording that I made earlier is here, and it will say recording number 1, recording number 2. It gives the start time of that recording and the duration, the date and time and the duration.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, it's already 4:30, so we're gonna have to start wrapping this up. But if you have any last questions, I'm happy to spend a few more minutes.
I'm waiting for you to help me with the start Zoom as a host. You said you should wait. I asked you one.
Okay, so yes, after we're done with Collaborate, I'll stop the recording and we can talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Any last things about Collaborate?
I went offline just now to try and add that synchronous session out of tools. Do you mind showing one more time? Because I couldn't do it from my course site.
Sure. So in your course navigation, on the upper left-hand corner, you'll see this little button.
Yep.
And you want to select Tool Link.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Sylvia, you look like you wanted to say something. You're muted. Hold on.
Sorry. Seems to me that the best thing I could possibly do is to run a couple of practice sessions.
Absolutely. I highly encourage that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many things that you have to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And also when you're in the midst of teaching, you can see this was very challenging for me. I had 50 people in here at one point, and I was trying to simultaneously run a Zoom session while I was demonstrating a Collaborate session. You can see that things can get very complicated very fast, especially with a lot of students and people speaking up and unmuting themselves and interrupting and that sort of thing, which I don't mind at all. And maybe your style is like that. Maybe you don't mind. And I have to give appreciation to everybody here because I felt like everyone was very respectful, taking their time with questions. But it can get out of hand really fast. So the more you can practice, the better.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, I haven't really been able to look too much in the chat. I'll look it over afterwards and I can always try to get back to people. But you can also email me, Kenny.Hirschmann, HIRSCHMANN @Hunter. I'll post that in the chat. You can also, particularly if you're in the School of Education, you can contact SOE help at hunter.edu, at hunter.cuny.edu. That's the Frankfort Center. And we're all, Dermot, Nodrika, and Sue are all part of that, those folks that you saw in the Collaborate session. So we're all here to work and assist with you. If you're not in the School of Education, you can still contact me and I'll try to direct you to whatever resources I'm aware of, but you can also contact the Technology Teaching and Learning Group, which is Xiao Xuan. ACERT are very helpful. They can help direct you, or just contacting ICET. There's a lot of resources at Hunter.